Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna do something different than usual. Today I'm gonna do a product review. We're gonna have a look at Tensor Price Locks. Did I point right? Almost. This thing. Although, full disclosure, I'm intending to make this an entry to the Tensor Creator Competition. Make a product walkthrough video on Price Lock. So obviously I want the product to look good for that. So I might create kind of a bias. But you know me, if I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you that I don't like it, even if that means not getting that bounty. However, it would be really nice to get that Tensorian. See, I don't even have a Tensorian. That's the worst thing. When they came out, I had a phase of I'm not allowed to buy NFTs because I spent all my money on NFTs. And yeah, now they're just too expensive. Anyway, just so you know that. Also, I'm not just gonna do a walkthrough. We're gonna do this Solandy style. And we're gonna just have a look at that without actually knowing what it is. Because that's how I like to do things here. Literally, all I know is you can short and long NFTs, but that's about it. I have no idea how it's different to like other protocols. But the thing is, if I trade NFTs, then I do it on Tensor. Because it's Solana's leading NFT marketplace, according to Tensor. Obviously. Also according to other sources, including myself. What I'm saying is, I'm basically gonna do user testing as a user who's not an NFT whale or anything like pro trader. I basically rarely buy NFTs anymore because I'm broke. That's why. But yeah, if I do, I use Tensor. So I'm just gonna go through this and see if it's intuitive for me. And if not, then hopefully that's valuable feedback for the Tensor guys. All right, so intuitively, I would click Price Lock. So that gets us here. Great. Complete a short tutorial before purchasing locks. Wow, there's even a tutorial. Should I click that guy? Wow, that's like with nice graphics and all. Play with lock calculator. Wow, this stuff is probably more complicated than... Actually, it's probably not at all complicated, but it looks complicated now. And I also don't like to RTFM, I like to play around with. So let's just play around with. What's a price lock? So the basics is a price lock lets you go long or short for 7 days. So the 7 days, the 1 week, that seems to be a thing for price locks. And you pay a 3.5% fee, which I have no idea if that's a lot or not. I never like leverage trade or stuff. So it's probably not a lot. And I have no idea. Learn more. Maybe the very basics that even I understand. Going long means we bet on the price to go up. We long something. So basically we pay a 3.5% fee and then we have that price locked for 7 days. Pretty simple. If the price is now 10, we lock in that for 3.5%. Goes up 12, we can still buy for 10. And if the price goes down, then we don't need to buy. So that kind of sounds like an option. NFT option trading, is that it? And then short, the same thing, but the other way. If you short something, you're expecting the price to go down. And once again, we can pay a one-time fee and then we lock for 7 days. But what does that mean? We lock a sell price. Okay, so that means if we have an NFT, we can sell it at that price. So we buy the option to sell at that price. So if price goes down, we can still sell for the price that we purchased the lock for and don't need to market sell when prices are lower. However, if price go up, well, we don't need to do anything. We can still sell for market price. Only thing we lost is our fee that we paid, which 3.5 now for an option doesn't sound so bad. So yeah, that tutorial, easy. Why do you need my video? Not at all. To get personal opinions, of course. Personal opinions, guys. That's what I give you. We'll see. I will have my personal opinions. Don't you worry. So we can purchase locks or we can play with a calculator to better understand stuff. So obviously, like just going through my head, purchasing a lock makes sense if you expect the price to change more than those 3.5%. Because the 3.5% you pay in fees. So it needs to change that amount such that you actually back in profit. Otherwise, you're just burning fees. However, you limit the amount of downside that you have. It's classic options. I mean, options I understand. Is that options? Probably the Tensor guys would be like, it's not options, it's locks. Otherwise, we would have called it NFT options. Let's just play around with this. So we can purchase locks and we can fund locks. Maybe start with purchasing locks, because that's probably the simpler thing. But of course, we need both sides for that to work. Anyway, what collection can we go long on? Oh, we can go more. See, the thing is, whatever I choose here, I'm gonna shill. But I think I can shill Mad Lads, because fuck it. Anyway, okay, we can, for 7 days, because everything is 7 days, we go long or we go short. Long or short, long or short. And there we see we have offers. That's the other sides that we can take. Those are the funded ones. 33 long offers. So to lock in that price for the fee of this, and the current price would be, you know, this. Yeah, so current floor price is 180 and locks we find for 184. So that's already a bit of a higher price than if we were to just market buy. And then on top of that, I think comes the fee of 6.3. And if we were to go short, we could either take the collection bid and sell for 162, or for only 5 sol, 5.7, we could go short and sell for 165. That's actually higher here. This price is actually higher than if we were to take the collection bid, but we also need to pay the 5.7 in fees. So that we pay anyway, whether or not we then actually sell for that price. Those are still ridiculously high prices. Can I maybe go to a different collection that is a bit cheaper? Oh, so this is not enabled on all collections, but I've heard that it's pretty simple to enable it also on smaller collections, but not on this, which is not a small one, but a very cheap one. So apparently price doesn't change enough here that it would make sense. Klanos have enabled. I mean, anyway, here's the thing. It's still damn expensive. And I don't know, like, honestly, I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I would, unless there's a Klano that I really like among them. Let's say I would really like to have that one. Then I could totally fund that lock in that rate of 97. However, if it's really just I want a Klano, then the lowest price would be 42, which is still quite high up from what the current floor is. I mean, that's like over 5 sol. So I'd rather just buy now. So unless I expect it to go up those 5 sol plus another 1.5 and more, such that that purchase makes sense, it doesn't really make sense for me to lock in that specific one, because it's not super close to the floor. And that's always the problem. Like, if there's not enough liquidity, so if there are not enough NFTs on the long side or sol on the short side, then that doesn't really pay off. On the short side, I think it makes more sense. Like, I could, instead of dumping it for 32, which, you know, if I instant sell, if I have a Klano and I want to get rid of it and I need liquidity, I could now instant sell for 32, or I actually lock in a higher rate, 34.8. So that's like almost 2 sol higher for the fee of 1.2. So this would make sense to me. There I would be like, yeah, actually, I can wait a week to get basically 1 more sol, unless I need the liquidity quickly, which some people do. Then they need to just floor it or, you know, take the collection bid. So in that direction, it kind of makes sense to me. But I don't think, unless I really want that specific one, I don't think I would take any of that, because those spreads are still too high. And that obviously depends on the funded locks. Let's see how that would look. We can fund shorts using sol. Okay, so if I have a bunch of sol lying around, I could offer to buy a Klano for a certain price. And there it says it in the warning even, I know I may get back 1 NFT instead of sol. And that's important to note. This is not pure APY that we're not just lending sol. We're giving somebody the option to sell us an NFT for that sol. So if we fund the short, essentially what we're doing is we're going long-ish, but not really. So why would you fund the short? For one, we have excess liquidity in sol, so we can afford to fund the short, and we might just get paid some fees, or we get a Klano. So we fund shorts if we are long and we are okay with buying an NFT for the given price. So for instance, we could select the price of the collection bid, or even pay a bit more to make it more attractive for the people to take them, but still under the current floor price. And then we would put that sol in there for a week. Well, actually possibly longer. It's a week from the point where it is taken. If it's just sitting there without somebody actually taking that lock, then it's just sitting there, but you can take it back at any point. And yeah, if somebody takes it after a week, you get paid this much after fees to Tensor. And in APY, that's like almost 300%, which, you know, sounds good. But then again, it's just 7 days. And also, like, in terms of full money, like a Sol, I mean, it doesn't sound so bad. You would do that if you either really want to buy a Kleno or are thinking that collection is stable. So the price is not gonna change much. So basically, you would do that, you would fund a short if you're okay with buying an NFT for that price, but you still think that the collection is going upwards or at least staying the same in terms of floor price. So the person buying the lock is actually better off doing a market sell later because prices will be higher and you just get the fee. So you just earn the yield while funding them. Let's also have a look at the other direction. If we were to fund a long, for that we need an NFT though. We would need to have a Kleno to be able to fund a long. And we would select which one. I don't have any in this wallet. I'm not even connected with my wallet. It's a bad example. Do I have NFTs? What's the cheapest collection that has like price locks enabled? All so freaking expensive. I can't afford any of that. I don't want my Kleno to go away from my wallet. So I ain't gonna do that. Neither am I gonna sell my MedLed. See, that's why I don't use Tensor much, because I want to keep my NFTs. And I don't have money to buy more, damn. I got 1 Sol to play around with. That's all I can afford. I mean, buying a Kleno just for demo purposes, it's a bit expensive, eh? It's not a good walkthrough if you don't like actually walk through. I'm not even connecting my wallet. But yeah, so far I have nothing to complain about. Like the user interface is so clean that there's like nothing where I'm like, I don't know what to do here. And I understand what's going on. That's also a nice graphic. So here we are between floor and collection bid. And there are some short offers that go into this range, but there's still some room. Let's see if that looks similar at other collections. Tensorians. Yep, so that seems to be a thing, that people don't want to get rid of their NFTs. So it seems like there are more people going long right now than there are going short, because the short offers are just better than the long offers. That's another thing that we can say from this. But the thing is, even if I go long, I'm just locking in that price. So I still need to then have that amount of Sol to actually buy it. So I can't really demo this. So yeah, that's unfortunate that it's just on those few collections. Would have liked to play around with it with a little bit less money, but I'm poor. So which one is that? Actually, we can look that up. What was the wallet for my Klenos? Lavender background and amethyst. Not many are for sale anymore. Also, they're all confident. There are not that many, and 3 of them are mine. This one, and this one. Which wallet do you live in, guys? The Sino. Here. Okay, so let's connect this wallet and disconnect the ledger such that I don't do stupid things, because I tend to do that. So now that we have a wallet connected with actual Klenos in there, now I can finally walk you through this better. I could go short, but I don't want to sell my NFTs. However, let's fund some locks. Actually, there's another tutorial. Earn up to. So funding shorts. We put Sol into a lock. We choose the lock price and then we wait for the lock to get purchased. And then after 7 days, if the floor goes above, as we said, if we fund a short, we are going long. So if it goes long, then we get back our Sol and the yield. However, if price goes down, we get a random NFT. So somebody might have floored that and we still get the yield. So still getting the yield. I mean, that the yield is what we're doing this for. That's why some people choose to pay higher prices than the bids. And I don't think that you necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think that you have to get the NFT. Even if the price goes down, they could still choose not to buy. Because if they then just don't have the money to buy it anymore, for instance, even if they would be better off buying it, if they don't have the liquidity to do so, then you might still get back your Sol plus the yield. I think that's another special case here that is not in this simple tutorial, but that's what you have me for. Also, it's in most cases, people are gonna give you that NFT because that's the worst case for you. If you get your Sol back and your yield, that's even better, because that's as with the best case. And here is again, that's the thing with options. When funding options, we're opening up to way higher losses. So actually funding is more risky than taking a long or a short, because taking a long or a short, the maximum you do is like lose the fee. That's the whole point of options, limiting your downside. But the other side, the funding side, they are increasing their downside in the hopes for yield. And if stuff stays stable, that's when the funders, the liquidity providers, liquidity being NFTs or SOL, they make money. In a stable market, the people funding make the money, but in a up and down market, it's the ones buying the locks. And of course, in both scenarios, it's always the side that, is on the right trend that makes the money. Oh, I hope what I'm saying makes any sense. So let's fund some locks for Clanos. What do we say? If we fund a short, then we put SOL in, so we go long. And if we fund a long, then we put NFTs in and basically we go short with massive downside, because our downside is our NFT. Let me click through this and then I go through that example one more time. So select NFTs. Oh, I do not want to select them. Oh, which one of you am I gonna sacrifice? My first Clano I ever bought? The Clano I traded with somebody for a freaking high ridiculous price? Or the one that fell into my trap when I didn't even want one more? I guess this is the one that I'm gonna sell. I'm not gonna sell it, but I'm gonna select it. Okay, so I'm funding this long. And I can set the price for this long. So if I keep the price here at 37.69 or whatever, then people could now pay the fee. Oh, I even did it below floor. Maybe let's not go below floor. That's stupid. See, I love those warnings. Tensor UX. And no, I'm not saying that because I want to shill their product. It's just a good product. So basically, if I fund a long and the price is 37, then I will get 37 plus the fee of the long. But I have pretty high downside. Because, so we said when we fund the longs, we're going short. But we're not going like short, because then we would short. If we expect Clanos to drop, then this doesn't make sense. It would make much more sense to floor it or take the collection bid, which is 32. Why? Because then 32 is my limit. But like this, if I fund it, then I can lose my NFT and have sold it for way too low. Because obviously if price go up now, let's say Clanos go to 100 SOL overnight, then obviously the person who bought this long is like, yeah, I bought this long because I knew price would go up, so I'm gonna take it. So I lose my Clano and I have all that downside all the way up. Wherever far up they go, I make a loss because I sell it for that price. On the other hand, if the collection drops ridiculously, like say it goes to 1 SOL, then the person who bought the lock is just not gonna take it. They're just gonna grab one from the floor instead, or 37 of the floor. So why would they buy this one? Why would they take the option? So essentially I'm left with my NFT that is now worth nothing, or okay, 1 SOL, and I get the yield. Yoo-hoo, oho, okay. So it is risky. Like when you fund stuff, you have much higher downsides. That's what I want you to take away here. So apparently this is more of a trading tutorial than it is a product review. But hey, trading with NFTs is way more sense than trading shit coins, right? Or is it the same? Is that not the same? Feels a bit different to me. I like NFTs. So if somebody takes this, if somebody purchases this lock, I have pretty much the guaranteed 0.96 SOL that I get. Again, almost 300% for 7 days, not bad. I risk that capital and I get that. It's the same as in the other direction, just that we're not risking our SOL directly, but we're risking the NFT. So the 1 SOL we get if the lock is taken. If nobody takes the lock, then nothing happens really. But obviously, if price go up, somebody bought the lock, then they can take it for that. So we can lose our NFT for 37 SOL as well. That's what it says here. We are being warned that we could lose that one. And if somebody really wants that one, even if we're like, I don't know, I sell it for 96. If somebody really wants that Clano, then maybe they're just gonna buy the lock and get that Kleno in any case, even if the floor is lower. That's the thing with NFTs. They're non-fungible. So if somebody really wants that one, then they might just purchase that particular lock because they're still going long on that one, even though it's like high up from the floor. So if I were to click that, I could fund it, and we would see here, I would lose my dino. I would lose it, because it would go into a vault. Should we do that? I don't want to do that. If somebody takes it though, I would get 3 Sol. Nobody's gonna do that though. If they take the lock, they're gonna buy the NFT, because otherwise that's not gonna make sense. And so it's not gonna make sense to just put it in there and then keep it there for forever and then get it out. I feel my heart pumping. I don't want to do this. Should we do this nevertheless? Have I been holding that for a year? If I've been holding it for a year, then I'm gonna do it. Because one of you motherfuckers is gonna ruin me and buy it, and then I need to pay taxes on that shit as well. So I ain't gonna do that. I gonna recheck that. When did I... Actually, I should look on Tensor if I want information on my NFTs. That was only 7 months ago. I don't hold it for a year yet, which means if I sell it, I gotta pay taxes, which is absolutely not what I want. Because on those 90 Sol, I would then pay 30 Sol in tax. And I paid 75 for that fucker. People are locking them in for like high prices though. All locks have a fixed duration of 7 days, but only once they're taken. Can I get it back faster? If the purchaser exercises the lock before it ends, but we don't have control over that. Before somebody purchases it, we can of course cancel it. And am I guaranteed my NFT back? No. Either the original NFT or the Sol. So yeah, that's basically just the other side. Yield varies by collection. Do I always get my yield? Once the lock is purchased, yes. But if it's not purchased, then you don't get anything. And I think even then Tensor gets a little bit of Sol. When do I get it? Oh, there we have something interesting. Okay, when do I get the yield? The second the lock is purchased. So obviously once you purchase the lock or the option, you pay the fee. And the fee directly goes to the liquidity provider. So the guy funding the long or short, guy or girl or person or whatever. That's what's cool about price lock compared to lending. So we're not doing lending here. This is different to lending. You don't have to wait for the loan to complete to get your yield. Yay. Do I always get the full yield? Yes. We're always compensated for the full 7 days, even if they exercise it earlier. That's on them. So yeah, basically that's options. We are dealing with NFT options here. Unless some of you tell me, oh, it's not options because... I'm gonna believe this is options trading. 25% of the one-time fee go to Tensor, which I guess it's fair. I mean, they spent a lot of energy on like building this, I believe. And an entire marketplace is not that easy to build. I mean, I get it. They need to make money as well. Even though those 25% seem like a lot. But we still saw that we get decent amounts back, right? I just don't think I want to do this. I'm just not gonna do it. And I'm too poor to buy any of the other collections or even fund a short. I mean, that's why they say fund a short close to the floor, because I could fund a short, you know, like here and then, you know, whatever, but nobody's gonna take that. If we then purchased locks or funded locks, then we would see them here. So what's actually cool about going long that I did not know, unless I misunderstood something now with a little more research, these things, if you open that, that actually gives you a nice visualization as well on why buying options, so buying locks, is the lower risk strategy, because you're essentially limiting your downside, but you keep your upside. And it's the same in the other direction as well. If I were to go short, I'm limiting my downside, but I'm keeping my upside. All for the price of a fee. So if nothing happens, worst case is I burn my fee. So let's go long here. My max loss is, as we say, the fee. And the max profit is unlimited. We break even if the collection hits 8.5. It currently has 7.1. So do I honestly think that's gonna happen? No. Do I want to play around with price locks? Yes. So I could either now just select one or check out which NFTs in particular. So those are the ones who funded, right? Cheapest one would be this one, but I could find one that has nicer rarity or has nicer colors or whatever trait. So I could pick one that I like, but since I'm such a fan of purple, I'm just gonna take this one. So here's the thing. If we actually do this, if we actually go long here, then we pay that immediately. So for only 0.38 Sol, we can lock in that price of 8.2. I now pay the fee and then I can buy it for 8.2, which again, would I do this normally if I could just buy another one for 7.7? Not really, because it would need to go to 8.5 essentially. Let's do a little more research on that. Short, I lose my fee if it goes above here, if it comes back to here in 7 days. I mean, just for the lols. Just for the lols. Let's do it. Let's go long on this one. It doesn't make any sense. I know that I'm basically just funding that guy who is funding the long, so essentially going short with this one. It does not make any sense, and I'm okay with paying 0.38 Sol. Just for the experience of participating in freaking longs. I don't even know what that collection is about. So yeah, just for the fun of it, let's go. We pay the one-time fee of 0.3771. Bye-bye money! And I've purchased my first lock, because it's the only thing I can afford. Woohoo! We purchased a lock. We spent some fees. If I was hardcore bullish on that collection, then that would even make sense. But I don't know that collection, so it's gambling. Do I recommend gambling? No, I'm highly aware that I just spent $38 on literally nothing, because I can't even afford to actually buy that guy then. But I think there's the possibility for me to buy and floor it at the same time and just taking the profit. And that's what I wanted to find out. Do I need to have that liquidity to get out of that lock? That's still an open question I had. All the rest was somewhat intuitive. If I buy a short, then I lose my NFT or I get the price. That's it. But here, if I then need to buy the NFT, if I have the option to buy the NFT, do I need to have the capital to buy that NFT, or can I just instant floor it and just take my profit? That is something I still want to find out. Because if I could do that, then that would make those locks actually more attractive to people who don't have much money like this guy. So yeah, we purchased that. And I guess we would need to come back in 6 days and hope that this thing freaking go up. Profit for a long. Right, but it's already here. Hold on. That button. Currently, we're not making any profit because the collection bid is under 7 Sol and the price is 8.2. So we could, of course, at any time execute our option now. Sorry, our lock. We could buy that NFT. And that's what I meant. If you really want to have that NFT, you can just buy the long and then immediately buy the NFT. You can do that. And you can do that anytime in those 7 days. But this button also looks interesting. What does that say? Profit for a long lock. Collection bid minus lock price minus the one-time fee, final profit. I mean, it kind of suggests that I can just floor it. Like that I can take the collection bid at the same time of executing my buy. Which would make sense. Because, I mean, it's Tensor, like it's even the same protocol. So my assumption is that I do not need to have the capital, the full 8.2 Sol, to take profit if I immediately sell it into the collection bid. And I think that's what that button does. So yeah, that's cool. That's actually a nice feature as well. Yeah, I like it. Because that way you can really long with like lower amounts of capital. Cool. We also figured that out. I'm gonna double check that, but I guess that's how this works. And if the time runs out now and I don't execute the buy, then he just gets it back and he already got the fee that I paid. So it's all good. It's all good. All right. And that concludes my review of Tensor Price Locks. I had zero issues with it. Like immediately coming here, I understood the whole thing. Let me get bigger for this. It's a simple concept. It's literally options, NFT options trading, in my understanding. Would I recommend that you do that? You gotta know by yourself. I mean, taking a long or taking a short, I would say, yeah, do that. If you believe that prices are gonna change a lot, and you're like, yeah, I'm willing to pay that fee to lock in that price, do it. I would recommend that you're a bit more careful with the funding of locks, unless you're either a whale and have capital to throw around, or know exactly what you're doing, so you're aware of the downsides. I wouldn't recommend a newbie to fund locks, is what I'm saying. So that's my honest review. But in terms of like build quality and like smoothness of how that works, I mean, yes, I don't want to lose my Klano and I don't have that much Sol. I wish I had, but I spent it all on NFTs that I don't even want to sell. Man, NFTs, I tell you. But yeah, I hope that this short little video was still somehow entertaining or informative. Sorry, Richard and Ilmoy, that I don't really have like better feedback to give you. You're building two good products. I have nothing to really complain about. I don't have anything. Like, I have nothing to complain about. It's crazy. What? The only thing I complain about is I don't have enough money to buy. I don't have enough money to fund logs or buy NFTs. Yeah, but that's a me issue. And your product is great. Yeah, I guess I'm just not rich enough to do a proper product walkthrough. So just a review from the outside it is. Cool. Please let me know if that format is somewhat interesting to you, those less technical videos. Write down below what you think of that. Like, obviously, if you watched that far, I'm assuming that you like it, but I can't tell that you watched that far unless you tell me. And while you're posting, tell the Tensor guys that I totally deserve a Tensorian that I could then totally use to fund the long, which I wouldn't, because once I have an NFT, I'd have a hard time getting rid of it. That's just the kind of holder I am. Again, overall, cool concept. For power users, definitely interesting because you can definitely speculate easier because you don't need the full capital up front to go long. Or the other side, you don't need to paper your NFTs because you're afraid that price will go down. You can just put some Sol to protect them because you have options with Tensor Locks. But it's not my world. I just wanted to dive in a little bit. Usually I make technical tutorials. You'll find that on my YouTube channel. That's more developer focused. Yeah, and I guess I'll see you there unless somebody's putting out the bounty again for me to make a video about their product. This was just fun for me to dive into, just to understand what locks are, because I kind of like NFTs. And knowing what is possible is definitely a good thing. And with that, I will sign off. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.